Yes, hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another radio style. Yes, radio style video. Um, we're gonna start doing some more of these here and there, and so we're just getting a feel for it. I wanted to show y'all. Okay, we're gonna have different overlays. So we have, for example, we have the overlay for our Motivational Monday show, which is the one from this past Monday, but we've upgraded it as well. And so you'll see something like this. Okay, there's for the Motivational Monday one. So we went ahead and updated and did that. And then for the Let's Just Chat, we have this one. How about that? And so we'll have different overlays. Now remember, we are a growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ here at CHA. CHA stands for Consulting for Heightened Awareness. That's what it's all about. God needs us to have the heightened awareness. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, it's crazy making out there. It is crazy making with this fear mongering. I tell y'all, man, we talked a little bit about thank you. Okay, yes, glad to hear. All right, good. Yes, good. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. um, yeah, thank you for putting that in the chat as well. Consulting for heightened awareness, because it is about that mental acuity, you all. We have got to get that clarity God needs us to have. We cannot be sitting here continuing to believe the lies and the deceit of the devil and the prince of darkness of this world. I tell you, these narcissists out here, I mean, they would use, oh my gosh, man, it's all over TikTok too. I was really surprised. But we're going to cover some places in the Bible where God tells us to fear not. Fear not. Because remember, we talk a lot about this in this ministry. It's all part of trauma healing and spiritual growth. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequency for healthier living. So, right, and that's it right there. Expanded awareness, heightened, meaning, you're just getting the next level. You're just getting the next level of clarity. You're understanding now that, oh my gosh, we've been lied to, about so many things in birth. And yes, for those of you on TikTok, if you haven't checked your messages yet, I highly encourage you. Chris, I definitely sent you some. Y'all got to remember that the rule of the spiritual realm is that they have to tell us the truth. They have to tell us the truth first. Remember, truth mixed with lies. And a lot of it's all for fear mongering. Because get people living in fear, okay, they feed on that. They feed on that. Remember how the narcissist, many of us can relate to this. Oh my gosh, drop it in the comments below. I can relate. How many times we'd be standing there, maybe cooking something in the kitchen, and chosen ones our minds are on what we're doing, but we're also thinking about other things, and out of nowhere there comes the narcissist, and they deliberately try to deliberately spook us. Like, they'll come up and, my goodness, where'd you come from? You know what I'm saying? It's like they love that, and you would see the glee on their face. Like, they absolutely love scaring people. Think about when we used to do the Halloween thing, those of too. And even though it was a thrill during some time growing up, before we knew better, before we knew it was a pagan tradition, um, you know, we realized that, it was fun and games for them, for the narcissist. They absolutely love to watch people get scared and spooked. They love it. They think it's funny. They feed on that. And I was like, wow. Because you got to remember something. They themselves are living in fear. Okay? Yeah. And that's the thing. They would sneak up on us and make us jump. Exactly. They love that. That's one of their favorite things to do. And if it works the first time, they'll do it again and again and again. And this is why I tell y'all that when you reduce your salt intake, in other words, you don't add salt to the things that you eat. There's no need to. There's plenty of salt in the foods that we buy to start with. So, yeah, excess salt on the inside of the body would definitely cause us to be a bit more jumpy when the narcissist would come around and go boo, or whatever it is that they would do to make us jump. And so, well, they're all about doom and gloom, but they love to laugh at others who are living in fear. If they see other people running around living in fear or acting out of fear, like buying on impulse, which of course is one of the devil's to do, is to get people to buy on impulse. Remember the radio frequency poisoning? I saw it on TikTok. Let me share this with you all. For any of you who may think you're experiencing some things, and if you are, I want to enlighten you on what it is, okay, with the current scare tactic going on right now at the time of this recording. I need y'all to understand something about radio frequency. They have to harness as much radio frequency as they can, okay, from all around us. And when they do that, it's going to have an indirect effect on how you are feeling, depending on how much salt is on the inside of your body. So if you have excess salt on the inside of your body, that serves as a magnet for radio frequency. So while it may not be a zap day per se, it is an indirect one, because they need all the frequency they can possibly muster up in order to make the so-called storm look worse than it really is. Okay, I need y'all to understand that. Okay, and so if you are experiencing some, let's say, a little lightheadedness, or tummy issues, or what have you, that's radio frequency poisoning. Okay, get you some ice water, get you some ice pack, get the inside of your body cooled down. Okay, not too fast, mind you, a little at a time. Right, if you have to, get into a shower, and not cold, but a cool shower. Get that head wet, get that head cooled off. You will notice, you will feel the heat coming off of your head. Okay, and that's why you're feeling a little bit dizzy, right, from the radio frequency that they're mustering up as much as they can. I kid you not, y'all. I had to do it. I had to get myself in the shower and get some cool water on my head. I need to wash my hair anyway, but I did, not because I was feeling overly dizzy or anything, but I was noticing the effects, because remember, I'm also healing from exactly. All right, so we're not going to talk about that too much anymore. But the thing is that when your body's internal environment is ripe, if you will, for radio frequency poisoning, that's what it's going to do. Whatever salt and whatever metal toxins are on the inside of your body, that radio frequency is going to gravitate towards it, and it's going to increase your body's internal temperature. Okay, and it's going to go to an abnormal amount. And so you're going to feel the effects. You're going to feel a bit feverish. And that's what's happening. So, yes, I hear the rain outside. It is what it is. So, yeah, we're going to get to the Bible verses here in just a moment. I just wanted to go ahead and, yeah, and don't be the dizziness. Okay, no, no, it's not aging. It's radio frequency poisoning. It has nothing to do with aging. A little dizziness here and there. No. That means that your body's internal heat too high. That's a big sign right there. You should not be dizzy like that. Okay, so yeah, ice. Get that cooled down a little at a time. Okay, even if you've got to go and get yourself some something cold to munch on, something cool. Right? Get the inside of that body cooled down a little bit. Seriously. And if you're gonna heat up something to eat, let it get room temperature before you eat it. Don't eat it piping hot. That will only add to the issue. Okay, because radio frequency poisoning, that's what it does. It heats the body. Remember, it cooks the body from the inside out. Remember, I saw that on TikTok where it said, y'all, everybody is just being microwaved on a daily basis. Well, yeah, there's some truth to that. It's called radio frequency poisoning. It's not to scare you. It's to help you get aware so you know what to do about it. push back against it for healthier living. Okay, so you want to get that body temperature cooled down. But I was looking at that where because of the storm, I said, well, it's because they got to harness as much frequency as they can from wherever they can. And in doing so, it is raising the frequency in the atmosphere, in the air, and everything. So you're breathing that in. And so it's having an indirect effect on people who may not be aware that that's what it is, but it's your internal body heat getting too high. So just know that, okay? And you can take the necessary steps to mitigate that and get your body cooled down, okay? Get it out of a feverish state, all right? And so, yes, okay, narcissists, they live for that. They live to see people living in fear. See, a lot of them don't even know they themselves are living in fear. Imagine that, right? They really don't. I've had some tell me that they're not living in fear and then turn around, like I've said before, they'll turn around maybe a day later and tell me that they're worried about something. And I'm like sitting here going, okay, wait a minute. If you got the demon and worry, then that goes with fear. You're totally living in fear. But they don't have a clue. See, that's how the devil likes it. The devil wants to keep them clueless that they're living in fear. And so as long as they don't know that they're living in fear, well, then they'll believe they're not when they are. And they'll make poor decisions. They will act on impulse. Like I said earlier, they'll buy on impulse, which is a big one. And so that's what there was a time where it worked on me, but not anymore. See, chosen one, when God wakes us up, that's it. God starts to reveal these things, and we realize that, you know what? Yeah, they want to continue to play their game of narcissism. And I have to tell y'all something, that the way they're doing things like this is not funny, but it is to them. Oh yeah, to the narcissist, yeah, anything that they do to stage destructive events and things, oh yeah, it's fun to them. It's all fun and games. They love to do that because they love to see people in anguish. They love to see people get all riled up. They love to see people complaining or hear people complaining. They love to watch people run around, trying to figure out what to do as they continue to play the game of destruction on the world stage. They think it's funny. Well, it's not. We know it's not. But they think it is. They feed on that stuff. They feed on that fear because whenever something like that goes down, they stage that event, and then they've got to keep them living in fear. When God tells us clearly to fear not, he also says, be not afraid. We're going to cover this here in just a moment. But got people running around out here like chickens with their head cut off. Okay, they are literally in fear. And the devil knows that what you fear is what you're going to attract, right? When you keep fearing something, it's going to happen. This is why we're big on changing that mindset. Don't be sitting there being afraid or fearing this or fearing that, because that's what the devil feeds on. That's what these narcissists feed on. That's what they're looking for. They want you to instill fear, and never forget the subtle ways they try to do it. Oh man, you got to watch out for those. Okay, there are some subtle ways that they'll try to do it. And by using one of the narcissists to deliver a message, subliminal message about your health, anything, right? You just got to be mindful of that and not allow it to get into your subconscious. Because, well, once it's in the subconscious, well, then that's just what it'll be. And so you want to be careful not to have that lingering. And so when the narcissist used to do those things deliberately, sneak up on you to get you to jump. And okay, and so you said that all narcissists like the doom and gloom, okay, for everyone else, but not for herself. Exactly. Okay, they love the doom and gloom for everyone else except themselves. Funny though, because we see them actually sitting there with the doom and gloom look on their face. But they're waiting to feed on other people's pain and suffering, which often stems from the very fear they're living in. So, like she was wishing that, narcissists will do that. Narcissists have spiritual wickedness in high places. So they do wish that people would have an accident, okay? And by constantly suggesting certain things to people that would lead to an accident, of course, it's deliberate. They know what they're doing. And so, see, the fearful side or downside of everything, of course, That's what they do. They want to always point out the negative. They always want to point out the fearful side because they want us to do right. They want us to do the same while living in fear with them. You see? And so, yeah, someone could win the lottery and she would see a downside to even that. Well, I have to tell you about the lottery. It's also a staged event. All right, y'all, seriously. Told nobody really win those. Think about the world stage. All right. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. I probably just, well, spoiler alert. There you go. All right. And yeah, we learned that. Yeah, we learned that. It's all part of the ruse. It's all part of the dog and pony show on the world stage, all right? Because they got to use the so-called something or other like, 25 cents go to this organization, blah, 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 blah. Okay, anyhow. So, yeah, and that's what they do. Narcissists will do that. They will always downsize it and then find some way to turn a positive into the negative, including fear. It had to have a fear element of some kind because that's what they feed on. That's what they want others to do. They want others to be in fear so they can feed their own demon of fear. God tells us not to entertain them. However, that's what they do. They will entertain their demon spirit with everything negative possible. So, right, and as we were talking about the radio frequency poisoning, yes, the body is not designed for high internal temps like that on an extended, right. Maybe you deal with it for a few days, but not continually. Exactly, okay. Okay, there you go. All right, congratulations on that. We're touching base on some things from yesterday. Here's a little bit of the and more that we're going to get into real quick. We're still talking about narcissists feeding on fear, and along with that comes pain and suffering. But I'm looking over here in the comments, okay? All right, and so congratulations, Chris. I'm glad that you did a little bit. Okay, there you go, a little bit at a time, and you see how you do, okay? And so, yeah, that's what they do. The narcissists will marinate. I like that term. That is a great way to put it right there. They will marinate in a fear environment daily so they become acclimated, and maybe that's why, well, yeah, of course, that's why people don't notice that they're living in fear, right? And, well, of course, they don't see it for themselves. They cannot see past the edge of their nose. They don't see it, right? They will sit there, and I like how you use the word marinate because that's really a great analogy. That's what they do. They sit there and they marinate themselves in that kind of fear environment. They turn on that fake news, which is nothing but fear-mongering. Full of fear over this, fear over that. Turn on that television, tele-vision, whatever you want to call it. Okay, same thing, because that's what it's doing. It is trying to shape the perception of their reality when they don't realize that that's not even real. The word real is in the word reality. Okay, go figure. So, we know that the devil loves to do that. It's all part of his game with perception management. Remember the perception management reality? Okay, that's the one that many people get stuck in, especially the narcissist. To get to God's reality, you've got to have heightened awareness. You got to get that heightened awareness. You got to want it. You got to be willing to let go of old belief systems. You got to let go of the old version of you. You got to let go of the way you used to do things. You got to let go of the way you used to think. You got to let go of all of that because you know what? All of that was from the Matrix. All of that was from mankind. Okay? Yeah, none of that was from God. So now we got to learn, so what is from God? Okay, well, God tells us not to fear. Okay, and a great example is in Isaiah 41, verse 10. He says, fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Okay, I mean, that's pretty clear. But you got to trust and believe that, right? That's God telling you, fear not. Okay, so fear thou not. Fear not. Okay, there's no reason. Now, of course, we know 1 John 4, verse 18 tells us that perfect love casteth out all fear. Talking about, and that's true, but you got to get, in order to get to God, you got to have Jesus first. And it doesn't work any other way. So they're going to be living in fear because of this and that, and what they've been conditioned and programmed to believe that these things that are manufactured and radio frequency engineered out here. They think that they're real. Well, we all did too at once before, but we're learning real quick that no. Okay, we found, oh gosh, it's on TikTok, and found some documents where there's actual weather manipulation patents out there. Why do you have weather manipulation patent? Right? Yeah, you know what that means. That means that basically gives them permission to develop that particular device, movie prop, if you will, whatever they can do to manipulate the weather. They did it in a lab. So, of course, if it works in the lab, they figured out how to make it work outside the lab. Of course. Think about all the movie productions, right? How many movies do we have that where there's inclement weather in there? Okay, well, you cannot tell me that they sat there and waited several days, weeks, months, or whatever until that particular weather pattern took place before they were filming. Absolutely not. It's called movie props. So they're using the same stuff on this world stage. And so we learn this. And that helps us, right? That helps the perfect love casteth out all fear. The more aware we become of these things. And so we no longer fall for it. And so, okay, so yeah, it says that here, okay, it has been fearing a hurricane, and here we are. Europe has one coming too. So somebody has been, okay, well, see, that's the thing. If you are something like that, well, remember though, okay, somebody might be fearing that, but you can guarantee that that's being manufactured. Okay, so one coming to the UK, all right, or coming to Europe, that's being manufactured, just like all of them are. They do it all over the world. And so, yeah, it's just like misery love company, so does fear. Fear, love, right, fear, love company. And so if y'all getting any buffering, okay, with the video, if you're getting any buffering during the stream and even on the replay, well, you know, it is a little, you know, windy and rainy out there in some parts. I know here. Okay, so, right, will we ever learn to stop playing with the false time? Yeah, you might want to stop playing because nobody ever really win. Think about it. You know, pay somebody a few $1,000s to stand up there holding a check as if they won. Yeah. And that, right, the weather manipulation technology has been around for many years. You got that right. All right. And, well, I don't know if we could say they're going to get better at it. I don't give them that kind of credit. I do not give them that kind of credit. And you'll find out why, okay, on the Patreon channel in the near future. You'll find out why. I'm not going to give them that kind of credit. Because it's nothing new under the sun, right? They are not going to come up with anything new because they're going to stick with what works. Okay, they're going to stick with, right? Well, I get your question on that. Why give them names? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. It's because it's part of their narrative. It's part of their narrative. They're telling a story, right? That way, when it comes around to write the history book, they have a name for it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. All I know is that I no longer believe the hush posh. I don't get all caught up in the humdrum. I'm not even gonna. You know what? From that, seriously, like I said, this recent one, I didn't even know what's going on until I got a text message from my dad. It's like, oh, that? Oh, okay. Thanks, but I'm good. Anyhow, I mean, it's really intriguing when we uncover what's really going on out here. And that's all part of the fear mongering. So if somebody's sitting there living in fear, then of course they're going to attract what they fear. Yeah. Well, go figure. And this is why we learned that, you know, we don't need to fear because God said, fear not. And so, yeah, I don't, well, that's true. Okay, if you now going back to the lottery for a moment, yeah, they've got to have some sort of a ruse. They've got to make it look believable. Y'all got to understand that the devil has got to find a way to make his lies look believable. So of course, gotta have someone holding that check, getting a picture and smiling as though they just won $1 million, but they're really just taking home a few thousand. which is okay because that was fun. Yeah. Or some other incentive. Whatever it is, they got promised something in order to do that. All right. So, yeah, because winning big when they're not. And then all of a sudden you hear stories about, oh well, within 5 years, that $1 million they won, and they went broke. And I'm sitting here going, see, all of that just never resonated. I said, that many people being that careless with, I'm not buying it. So I'm not buying it, because that's a lot of money. It can go a long way. But yeah, I mean, well, when you know what to do with it, when you know what you're doing with it. But I mean, that's the thing. We don't need to fear, no, because God says not to. So if you live in a wooden house, you got more. No, you don't. No, if you're in a wooden house, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what dwelling you're in. You have no reason to fear these things. You got to trust in God. So let's cover another place, okay, in here where exactly, okay. Ooh, I did not. Well then, it did that. Oh, crazy making. Hold on a second. I gotta get it back. Okay. Here we go. Okay, King James. What the world? Y'all forgive me for a moment. I don't know what this thing just did. Okay, here we go. Well then, oh, I must have hit the other translation. I wasn't trying to do that. I'm using BibleGateway.com. All right, but here's another place. Joshua 10, verse 25. And Joshua said unto them, fear not, nor be dismayed. Be strong and of good courage, for thus shall the Lord do to all your enemies against whom ye fight. In other words, God got this. Remember, God's fighting our battles for us. And so we don't need to be fearing nothing. I mean, so many times, okay, that God tells us. Well, even in 1 Chronicles 28, verse 20, okay, and David said to Solomon, his son, be strong and of good courage, and do it, fear not, nor be dismayed, for the Lord God, even my God, will be with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Okay? And he says, until thou hast finished all the work for the service of the house of the Lord. But even beyond that, all right, the Lord is not going to forsake. He's not going to fail us. So, I mean, so many times we're told. And then another place in Psalm 56, verse 4. This is our song to God. In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. Remember, the fear is of the flesh. Okay, fear is of the flesh. Fear and flesh both begin with the letter F. Explain that to me, huh? That's not a coincidence. So when you are living in fear, you are of the flesh. That's the spiritual behind why the devil and narcissists love to keep people living in fear, so they can feed on it. So, yeah, no, you do not. Okay, you do not have to. Yeah, you do not have to fear. Okay, and I'm gonna tell y'all. Yeah, it's not anything that I know it seems that way, but remember that the devil is all about the appearance of things. Okay, the appearance. That is what the devil is all about. So he has to make things look worse than they really are. Okay, he has to do that. And then he has to get people to play themselves in order to, make his lies look believable. So I am looking for some more. And telling us, like in Deuteronomy 1, verse 29, then I said unto you, dread not, and then neither be afraid of them. So in other words, we don't need to be afraid of the devil and his narcissist at all. So, right, and then again in Deuteronomy 7:18, thou shalt not be afraid of them. So you gotta, right, you gotta remember how many times that God tells us to be not afraid, do not fear, right? I mean, tons of times, 365 times throughout the Bible. How many days are in a year? Well, okay, according to man, 365 days, right? So fear, well, there you go. Yeah, fear is of the flesh. And well, they do. They've got the fear of death, death of the flesh. But the narcissists have a fear of literal death, though, too. Like they want to live forever. They truly believe they can be immortal in the physical. So, right. And then also, I'm going to go, let's see, I want to get into the New Testament somewhere here. Oh, yeah. I mean, be not afraid. Here you go. Proverbs 3, verse 25. Be not afraid and fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. That describes what we're experiencing right now. Right there, Proverbs 3, verse 25. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. So, in other words, that's telling us that, oh, this kind of stuff, the weather manipulation and all these fear mongering messages, things like that, oh, they coming. Oh, yeah, and it's nothing new under the sun. It's the same old over and over and over again. It's stuck on repeat. Like I've said before, the Matrix and Narcissist, man, they stuck on repeat. Because that's all they know. They don't know anything else outside of what, well, yeah, what they know works. Okay? And so in Matthew, okay, it's verse 27, but it's chapter 14. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. So there you go. It's of Jesus. It's Jesus. So be not afraid. And there's tons of other places that we're told to not fear. Do not fear. But the narcissist and the devil love to keep people in fear because, well, they got to feed on it. They got to feed on that fear. It gives them an adrenaline rush, right? It gives them an adrenaline rush, which we learn, chosen ones, as we grow and mature and evolve like we're supposed to, that we don't want that no more. We don't want anything, okay? We don't want anything that has to do with adrenaline rushes. We're done. We put away the childish thing. So, well, yeah, and so when you think about their fear, and especially their fear of death, they do have a fear of death. They resist big time. And I can tell you that the Jezebel that gave birth to me, boy, she was resisting that physical death big time. I felt it inside that house. I said, wow, that's some very strong resistance. And she was resisting. And then until my sibling showed up is when she finally stopped resisting. Had to see the golden child. Oh, yeah, had to see that golden child and be with that golden child one more time before she would let go. And so, yeah, they will resist it out of fear of aging and death. They are vain and don't like the loss of their youthful looks. Right, well, and they don't have the substance either. That's just another reason why, sure. But they do have that. They've got the fear of everything around them. They really don't understand that with God, all things are possible. You don't need to fear anything. When you know who you are in Christ, you've got Jesus, you know that you do not have to fear. There's no reason to. And I understand that some people are not going to understand how we roll at Consulting for Heightened Awareness. When we are talking about something, we are talking about it. But we are also, you have to remember the lag time, everybody. Let me explain to you how this works in the radio and let's just say content creation industry. All right, when you are live streaming and we have a live chat going and we have a conversation, this is let's just chat after all, but we do it in all of our videos, okay, and all of our live streams where we have a live chat. And then also in the comment on the replay, it's a little bit different with those. But when there's a live chat going on, you have to remember there is a delay. So like I may mention something and I make a talking point and it might be 30, 40 seconds before a fellow warrior catches it. And that's why you will see some of the chat comment going back to what I have already talked about briefly. Okay, that's why it kind of seems like we go back and forth a little bit here and there because of the lag time. In other words, I notice it when I go in to check the sound like we do sometimes. I didn't have to because Chris let me know it's working just fine. So I didn't have to do that today. So thank you, Chris. And so what that means is that I've seen it where there's like it can be a 45-second delay. Okay, right, and when we talk about certain things, it can take a whole 45 seconds to be broadcast from wherever it is you all are tuning in from. And I can already be a minute or two ahead to the next talking point, but then the comment comes up from that because of the brief delay. Okay, there was some lag time in the broadcasting. That's just the way it is. That's how it works in this industry. Nothing I can do about that. Okay, it's just what it is. I try to just get everything answered and mentioned in the chat. I look over here and I say, okay, now there may be some times where I would tell y'all I'm not going to get to the chat till the end, depends on the message, and then we will do some catch up, recaps, what have you. We do our best. And then there may be some times in the near future where we just ain't even going to bother with it. It just depends on the message. All right. So, yes, I had to get me a swig of ice water there. But, yeah, that's the thing. Narcissist and the devil boy, the matrix, well, it feeds on that fear. I tell you, it sure does. It loves to see the fear. And I'm going to tell you what it's looking for. Okay, whenever a person gets on their device to see if they're living in fear, it's looking for dilated pupils, and it is looking for muscle tension. It's looking for any kind of fear response. Okay, it's for any kind of impatience, any kind of impulse, like impulsivity. Right? Are they acting on impulse? Are they behaving as such? Are they talking in such a rushed and hurried manner, and you can hear the panic in their voice? Those are things that they're looking for. The matrix and the narcissist, those are things that they're looking for because they want to know. They want to see, oh, okay. So as long as they can get that, it feeds their demon of fear. It feeds them. It entertains their demon of fear. It entertains them. So the narcissists, they don't, okay? They really do not, because they live in fear, so they're not going to understand how the wider world works because they don't even know about the spiritual. A lot of them don't. And that's true. I've said that before too, that narcissists, they fear what they don't understand. So I've noticed it too. For example, okay, and I'm not saying that the person that I talk to in such a way where I enlighten them about the fact that, for healthier living, that wheat bread actually is good for your digestion. But it's got to be 100% whole. You can't have any artificial nothing. No corn syrup, no added sugar, no artificial anything. It had to be 100% natural. And because they have such a long-held belief from wherever that wheat is not good for their digestion, or it upsets their tummy. They believe that for many years. So I would say, well, actually, contrary to popular belief, when I first ate a piece of wheat bread for the first time in many years, I actually could feel the digestion taking place. And they did. They got a bit rattled up. They got like, and had to leave the room real quick. Like they did not know what to do. See, that's the thing. That's them living in fear because it was presenting them with evidence against a long-held belief that they've had about wheat. So, yeah, and that's the other thing with narcissists, okay? They have the expression of negativity, anger, and impatience, all of that. Exactly. That goes back to what we were talking about in the talking point when it said what they're looking for, okay? What the matrix and narcissists are looking for. And so when and when they leave the room like that, when we present them with evidence contrary to their long-held belief, that's that cognitive dissonance kicking in for them. And so they're going to fear it. They don't understand it. They're like, wait, how can that be? Because they have been conditioned to believe otherwise. So it's not resonating with them, and they can't handle it. So they don't understand it. So they're going to fear it. Okay, and they they fear what they don't understand and cannot control. Right, things that are outside of their control, they are definitely afraid of that, because we know that these narcissists out here, they're all about that illusion of power and control. Absolutely. So they do. So thank you for confirming that. Okay, as far as what we were talking about there. See, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. When I finished that talking point about the wheat bread, our fellow warrior just now getting it. That's that delay. That's that lag time. Okay, so I had already talked about it previously, and our fellow warrior just now got to that talking point. So there you go. All right, and yes, wheat is much better for you, digestive wise. Okay, we know this now. But if that goes against, I don't want to say that they are narcissists, because we all had some of those things going on for us too. We had to unlearn, and we're still unlearning a lot of worldly garbage when it comes to, things like that. And then also, what is related to radio frequency poisoning, what's not doing what we thought it was based on, RF symptom. Okay, because those are blamed on food. So that gets people living in fear over eating certain foods, which is a big part of the game of narcissism on the world stage, because the devil targets people's health, right? So get them living in fear about their health. They'll believe anything that just makes them feel better. Oh, okay, good. I'm not eating that because, okay. And the first time it upsets them, because I've been there too, okay, but not anymore. Because we realized that, that's just radio frequency poisoning. That's the RF symptom. So we learned to ignore that. Well, yeah, that would be part of the delay. Yes, Wi-Fi coming over 4,000 miles to the UK. Yeah, there you go. We have about a 45-second to a minute delay there. Yeah, I see that. So there you go. Makes sense. But that's how it works in the world of broadcasting. That you do have a minor delay based on where you all are tuning in from. Okay, if you are tuning in locally in the same, let's say, city that I'm in, you probably don't have that kind of lag time. It just depends. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through the chat, and sometimes we go back and forth to make sure everything that's covered. I don't want to leave y'all hanging, especially if you've got questions that are in the chat and questions that are on the replay. But y'all got to remember that we do not need to be living in fear, to be walking and living by faith. We cannot do both. You cannot do the fear and faith at the same time. I mean, we see the hashtag faith over fear, yeah. But how about faith? 100%. You don't need no fear, period. It's casted out, because God is that perfect love that does that. God is that perfect love that takes care of it. You just know. See, chosen one, we get to that point, we just know. Because we're divinely protected. So we just know. And that there's no reason for us to sit there and be afraid like the world wants us to be. And I would tell you, I can sense when others are trying to do that. And I'm just like, no, I resist the devil and he shall flee. So, yeah, that's true. Thank you. Yeah, obviously, considering the distance being covered for broadcasting, the Wi-Fi is not too bad, is it? We have a little bit of a delay, but yeah. That's a good point. But yeah, no need to be living in fear, chosen ones. There's absolutely no reason. Because, well, like I just shared with you all, for those tuning in towards the end, you catch this on the replay because I do cover some of God's word where he tells us to fear not and to be not afraid. Because the matrix and these narcissists, man, they want everybody that they can possibly trick into living into fear to be living in fear. Because that's what they feed on, along with the pain and suffering that, again, oftentimes accompanies that fear. And, fear up because you're going to attract more of what you fear. If you're fearing something, then that's what you're going to, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to eventually, and the devil knows this. So if you have a fear of, let's say, slipping or whatever on a surface that may have a little bit of water, if you've got that kind of fear, well, eventually it's going to happen because that's in your subconscious, right? So this is why we've got to purge that subconscious and also lose the indoctrination of impatience. Okay, lose that indoctrination of impatience and learn to take your time. We ain't got to rush nothing. That's the other thing we learn. In God's reality, if we ain't got to rush nothing. We don't have to move that fast. We can take our time and think things through. We don't be acting on impulse because we don't have to. We shouldn't be. Acting on impulse is what, leads to the wrong decisions oftentimes. So we've got to trust God, right? Love God. Love of God. Okay? And so, banking the love with God, and we don't have to feel insecure if we are, there's no reason. When you know that you've got God on the inside of you, and Jesus now walking through us, come on, chosen one. Okay, come on now. You know that you're loved. There's no reason to have anything. No demon of insecurity. No, out the window. Bye-bye. Rebuke in the name of Jesus. You know that you're loved. Because that God is that perfect love. And never forget, how else do you know you're loved? How much love you've got from God on the inside of you. Remember how the narcissist mirrored your empathy back to you? Well, that should tell you something right there. Just how much of it you've got on the inside of you. That's how much God, we can't even fathom. But that's the kind of love that God has for us, for his chosen one. And it is incredible. It is amazing. It is so strong that, wow, you can't deny it. Okay? But the devil will always try and get you to fear whatever he can get you to fear when there is no reason to fear, especially himself. There's no reason to fear that. And it is the fear thought paradox. That is how the devil works. Once the fear thought gets in there. Exactly. It's like like a miracle round. Once it gets in the subconscious, this is why we're big on purging that subconscious. Get it out of there. Don't even be thinking of it. Don't even be thinking of it. Change that mindset. You see something a little unexpected. Oh, okay, that's what it is. Fine. For example, let's say I've got a crumb from something I was eating and I see it on the floor. And that was a little unexpected, but that's okay. You have to learn to expect the unexpected so that it doesn't catch you off guard. See, that's the other thing. When a person's living in fear, they're a lot easier to catch off guard. Think about that for a moment. The devil loves to try and catch people off guard. Because by doing that, it increases your chances of being vulnerable. Your chances of falling for a deception, are higher when he can catch you off guard. And so we learn how to not allow him to do that by paying attention to when he's trying to do that. And so if I see a crumb down there, I was like, oh, okay, so we know what it is. We get it, we pick it up, we throw it away, but then we move on. We don't continue to think about that crumb. Do you know why? What you think the most of, you're going to attract more of. Next thing I know, if all I'm thinking about is that crumb on the floor, next thing I know, I'm going to have a whole pile of crumbs on my floor. I kid you not, y'all. That's how powerful. That's how. Okay, radio blooper. There you go. All right, yeah, but that is how powerful your thoughts are. Okay, I'm telling you, seriously, that is how powerful your thoughts are. If you are sitting there dwelling on, let's say you have a little minor discomfort, don't dwell on it. Make note of it. Take care of it. Self care, however, walk it out. Do what you got to do, but don't dwell on it. Because the more you dwell on it, yeah, the worse it's going to get. And so, yes, that merry-go-round in the subconscious, it is a very vicious cycle once it gets in there. So we have to do some very deep inner work and we have to purge that sucker. We have to purge that sucker. We got to get all that negative stuff out of the subconscious mind. Yes. All right, everybody. Listen, that I just had to get up here and go ahead and deliver this to remind somebody, all y'all, that there is no reason. Yeah, see, now you just got the blooper. Okay, gotcha. All right then. Yeah, no need to fear. Okay, no need to fear whatsoever. So we're gonna wrap this one up right there. I know it's almost an hour, but I wanted to get on here and give you all that reminder. And then don't forget just how powerful your thoughts are, because that's why the devil and his narcissists want you to live in fear, so that your subconscious mind is constantly going through that cycle of fear. You're marinating in fear, and that's what the devil wants. So, and chosen ones, we don't need to do that. Okay, we don't need to do that. Yes, it's been a while since, well, now you got a blooper. It happened. All right, but there you go, everybody. We're just being who we are in Christ and bringing you all these messages, reminders, and things like that. It's very important to remember that there is no reason to fear, that we are divinely protected by God, and that nothing is going to be able to stand in the way of that. The only person that can stand in the way of that now is us, because it's us versus us, not us versus the world, not us versus the narcissist. I mean, it is a spiritual battle between chosen ones and narcissists, but we're talking that's spiritual. As far as in our physical and spiritual, as far as going forward and making progress, we're the only ones that can stand in our own way now. We ain't got no reason to fear. And just keep on keeping on. All right, everybody? So there you go. All right? If you've got any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Even if you catch this on the replay in the comments, I'll get to those as soon as I see them. I want y'all to take care. Okay? And you are very welcome for the reassurance, the reminders, all of you. So keep on going. Yes, remember Colossians chapter 3. Keep all thoughts on things above. Okay? Above, heightened awareness in the kingdom of God with the Almighty God on all things above. And yes, we are divinely protected by God. Let's put that in the comments on the replay too. We are divinely protected by God. So glory be to God. I am sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.